Leos, your February energies are here. Let's find out how you need to make this work for you so that you've got the best February ever. Let's have an aligned astro chat about it. Shalom all, Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and welcome to your Transformational Tarot for the sign of Leo in February. Leos, this is for your sun, moon, rising, as well as your Venus, and this is also a great video for anyone who has a Leo in their life that they love. So we are going to be pulling an overarching theme this month for you from the 22 Archangels Oracle from Kyle Gray. And then the deck that spoke to me for you guys is the Glimmer Walker Tarot. Really excited to do this one for you. All right, without further ado, let's get to it. And Mr. Neo has decided that he wants to participate in your reading. So if he gets too obnoxious, I will scoot him out. But let's just sort of see what that overarching theme is for you guys this month. I feel like there's going to be a lot of energy coming through this month, just collectively, that we are all going to have the opportunity to really make use of. It might not be fun the way it comes through, but I feel like it is definitely nutritional. So let's see what you got. Ooh, Azrael, transcendence. You wouldn't be who you are without what you have overcome. Own your story. Wow, Leos. Okay, so first of all, a lot of fire, right? So I think that's speaking to, your Leo-esque energy. Also, the own your story is really standing out to me. This is going to be a month where there are going to be some challenges. There are going to be some options for you to make decisions that may not make you the favorite for everyone. But it's important for you to own your story, own your choices. This is a month I really feel of accountability for you guys, but it doesn't feel like it's in negative ways as much as I feel like you're driven, like there's a need to do this. You're feeling called to this, and you're going to step into this in that way. Wow. Okay. I can't wait to see how this transpires and plays out for you. So where are you presently right now in your transformational journey? What part of you is shifting, rising, or dissolving? Ooh, you got the moon. So definitely feeling here when we're talking about the moon energy is I feel like you're sick and tired of not being able to put your finger on how you've been feeling or what you've been wanting, or it's like you feel like there's something under the surface that wants to come out, wants to grow, wants to be seen, but you can't quite get a grasp of it. And I'm also feeling like, I did a reading for another sign. I can't remember which one it was. It might have actually been Cancer, the one right before you. But there's almost this feeling like you've been feeling that the world has been kind of holding you back from things, that you're seeing other people getting to the places and spaces that you've worked so hard to get to. But for whatever reason, you never seem to reach the finish line. You're always behind the 8 ball. And I don't feel like this is, for some of you, it might register as, or resonate as right across the board in your life. For others of you, it might be in one area or aspect, especially like a career place. This is a month where I feel like the moon is coming through to remind you that the moon, yes, it's the mystery. Yes, it's the secrets, the things that are, kind of hidden and unseen. But it's also the encouragement to involve your intuition, to really step into that intuitive space. Also, the moon indicates a cycle, a pattern of time, 28-day cycle, is the moon cycle. So what do you want to get done in this next 28 days? And I don't mean, that you have to go from new moon to the next new moon. I mean, today you're watching this video, right? Or look at the first, of February. Where do you want to be? Count 28 days out and see where you want to be on the other side of it. I feel like this card is inviting you to use your intuition to set an intention for the changes that you want to see by that 28th day. And I feel like when you're setting that intention for yourself, the sky's the limit. Like, you're going to hit it. You're going to discover how quickly you are going to be able to manifest, how quickly those secrets are revealed, right? How quickly the moon shines its softer, gentler light onto something and gives you a completely different perspective on why things have been hidden or in the dark or kept from you. This is a month moving forward where you're not going to feel like things are kept from you. I do feel that everything is going to be revealed, but it's revealed in this 28-day cycle. And there's a reason for that. It's your job to be accountable for what comes up and what you choose to do in that 28 days in order to open yourself to these mysteries being revealed. Wow. The catalyst. What's fueling or hindering your transformation? Is this resistance or rocket fuel? Oh, you got Queen of Thunder, so Queen of Swords. Feeling very much that the catalyst for you here is to really pay attention to the structure that you have been using in the past, and notice how that structure is no longer really helping you. We are in a window and an energy right now, just in the collective, where we're tearing things down. You know, it's the grand tower, it's the big earthquake, and you know, there's going to be very little left in the rubble that's going to be usable. We're really being encouraged to start from scratch. Well, Queen of Thunder really comes through with the kind of energy that says, yeah, we're tearing it all down, but it's not without thought. It's not without deep consideration. There's a method to the madness, but you want to pay attention to the structure that you're, you know, perhaps it's an old structure that you're applying to something new that is coming up. And I feel like that's what needs to be shifted. So is this rocket fuel? Okay, so is it resistance or rocket fuel? It's both. It's resistance if you get stuck in, this is the only way that I can do it. This is the structure I've been using my whole life, and I'm not stopping now. It can be rocket fuel if you see it from the perspective of the Queen of Thunder stepping in and saying, this isn't working, but given a lot of thought and planning and, you know, consideration, I've decided to put this structure in place instead. And I'm using the air element to fuel my fire. You as Leos, air signs are super helpful because that's how you exist, right? The fire burns because of the oxygen that comes from the air. So I feel like you're kind of reevaluating how you're receiving your oxygen and what structure you're putting around that to be able to harness that oxygen, to harness that fuel. Deep root. What deep belief, wound, or soul contract is driving this transformation under the surface? Interesting. 3 of Thunder. Heartbreak, betrayal, whether it's something that you've done towards someone else or whether it's been done to you, either way, you don't want to do it again. You're feeling anxious about that. You know, it's. I'm not saying that people don't exist that aren't out there that do that on purpose. They get something out of causing harm and pain. I mean, yes, there are always going to be people that, you know, seek that lower vibrational energy. But I feel like for you guys watching this video, you're not seeking revenge here. You're not seeking to have a repeat of this experience. Instead, you're looking at this and saying, I don't want this to happen again. Like, this is not what I'm really interested in focusing on. What I really want is to be able to grow beyond this. I don't want to have to deal with betrayal and heartbreak. I don't want to have to be in a situation where I've got to heal from the choices that I'm making. Again, I talked about accountability for you guys. So I feel like this is coming up right now because it's giving you an opportunity to be able to head that off at the pass. Learn from your past choices. Learn from the experiences that brought this to you so that you can be more connected to the thoughtfulness of that Queen of Thunder energy. She strategizes. She strategizes based on deep thought, deep consideration of all of the aspects of a situation before she formulates her plan and then moves forward. Once she's formulated that plan, that's the plan. She's going to continue down that vein because she knows and trusts that whatever happens as a result is meant to be. And that's part of the creation process. 3 is about creation. So I feel like this is definitely that, I want to say, that deep root for you that makes you a little nervous to kind of step into the shift and the change, the transcendence. It makes you a little nervous to own your story because the last time you owned your story, someone got hurt, right? Or you got hurt. But it doesn't mean that this is going to repeat itself. If you don't want a repeat of it, this is the time to evaluate that. Queen of Thunder is here to help you with that. What's dying away? What part of you is falling away? What role, pattern, or identity has run its course? Yeah, feeling lost in which direction to go. Feeling a bit exhausted in your light. Like with the 2 of light, the 2 of wands, this is a card of direction. It's a card of choosing a direction, choosing a path, but it's also kind of on the lower end of the spectrum in terms of light. The 2 of light has significantly less light than the 10 of light, right? Or the 10 of wands, because there's still room for you to grow. The path that you choose is going to help you to grow your light in different ways. So when we're talking about what's dying away, I feel like it's you feeling like you have to kind of dim your light or keep your light protected until you've made a choice, until you've chosen a path. Because this has come up and come through and you're putting a little different approach or different structure to it because you're learning from it rather than sitting in the fear of it repeating itself. Now you've chosen a direction. And here we see, she's choosing this being is choosing it feels like a broader staircase, but based on this perspective, there's a little more light that comes through here. Either choice that you make, it's not a wrong choice. You're still going to be in the light. You're still going to be focusing on how to shine your light and expand yourself and to grow, especially in a career perspective for a lot of you. I feel like that's what this is about. How you can be seen a little bit more, how you can contribute in the ways that you feel really comfortable with, because I feel like this is a big shift. Own your story because you're transcending into a new aspect of yourself. But you've made the choice. So no right or wrong choice, just make the choice. I feel like that's really significant to that. Your highest Phoenix potential. What can rise from the ashes? What is your soul calling you toward? This is your breakthrough energy. Oh, I love it. Yes, new beginnings, fresh start. This is what you're craving. This is what you're craving, Leo. And you've been craving it for quite some time. And I feel like it's showing up in this position because it's saying to you, yeah, you have been kind of hiding in the shadows a little bit. You've been licking your wounds a little bit, which means that you're not really kind of up on what's actually going on in the rest of the world or in the environment around you. And this is a time now to kind of come back into the world, come back into the light. You're getting ready to do that. And the Fool says, here's what you have to look forward to. Leo, I've never met a Leo that wasn't up for a really interesting challenge. And I feel like that's kind of the energy that you want to be tapping into here, is saying, I don't need to know how it's all going to turn out. Hi, Fuzzy. Thank you. I don't need to know how it's all going to turn out in order to be able to get excited for the adventure, in order to be able to say yes to the challenge. And I feel like by the end of this month, you're going to feel like you got your mojo back. Right? You're going to feel like you got your courage and your bravery back. And apparently Mr. Neo wants to contribute his opinion. Okay, Scooch. Thank you. And I feel like the Fool card is basically giving you a heads up that that's what this is going to be about for you. So make the choice. No matter what direction you're going in, it's going to be the right one for you. And start to get excited about the new journey. You don't necessarily need to know how it's all going to turn out in order for it to be what it needs to be for you. I love that for you, that pure potential. And you got the pure potential card in that. So I think that's great. All right. What's emerging just around the corner for you? What energy or experience is coming in to support the next phase? Wow, lots of swords energy. So yes, you are coming to life. More oxygen in your life, feeling your lifeblood and your life force, more energized, more, the lightning activates it, right? It's like you're fully plugged in. That's what I love. That's what I really love about this deck is it always feels like high energy, feeling like you're plugged in. Okay. So 6 of Thunder, support and grace. What's just around the corner? Support and grace. Especially I keep coming up with career and work related stuff for you guys. So I'm just going to continue on with that. I feel like for a lot of you, you're going to get some really positive information about a work situation that you've been either contemplating, like maybe making a change or contemplating, there's this project coming up. I think I might be good for it, but I don't know, if it's something that I really want to kind of put myself out there for. Well, I feel like you're going to receive a lot of positive information that's going to encourage you to move forward, to speak your truth, to ask for what it is that you're really wanting. I also just keep hearing the word challenge around this. You're going to be supported by a new challenge, going in a different direction. And I feel like it's that direction that's going to lead you to even more light, to even more of your recharging your batteries. I'm also hearing there's a health journey for a lot of you here. And the health journey is like coming out the other side of it with a great deal of success, with the understanding of just how powerful you are in order to be able to heal yourself. 3 of Thunder is, often is that healing energy that comes through self-care, self-healing, after a betrayal. You got to lick your wounds. You got to figure out what comes next. So when we're talking about that next step, just around the corner, it's support and grace. So this is telling me that this month, no matter what goes down, when you say yes to an opportunity that presents itself for you to be able to go bigger and to learn something that stretches you outside your comfort zone, there's nothing going to stop you. This is what February is about. It's laying a foundation for you to be able to, I want to say, sky's the limit for the rest of the year. Now, if you choose to say no to this, if this comes around the corner and you say, no, I don't want to do it or I'm not ready for it, no harm, no foul. But I am going to say to you, it's going to set you back from a timing perspective. And what I mean by that is the goal, the sole goal, the sole reason for this particular chapter in your life and this particular experience, it will come around again. But when it comes around again and you finally do it, you're going to realize, wow, I could have done this sooner and been a lot further ahead in my own soul growth and my own soul knowing. So I want to say, don't get in your own way. Be open to receiving the support and grace. Be open to saying yes to the challenge right now. Even if you think I might not be ready. I feel like that's just the ego talking. That's just the self-doubt stepping in, trying to keep you in a space where it can keep you safe and protected, right? And I use air quotes with that because it doesn't understand the difference between the pain of ripping a Band-Aid off your arm and chopping off the whole arm. So it brings the 5-alarm fire to everything. So pay attention to where your ego is speaking really loudly to you this month. And I want to say, put it in its place, put it in its place. Your role in this shift, how are you navigating this transformation? Are you resisting, flowing, grieving, or boldly rising? It's really interesting. I feel, Leos, like there is some grief. I feel like there's a little bit of resistance to making the change, not wanting to let go a little bit of the past, not wanting to say goodbye to what has been. Not so much because you're afraid that you won't have something equally as good or better to replace it, but more because I feel like a level of exhaustion, like not knowing if you've got the time, the space, the energy, not sure if you even have the desire to, put in the work that it's going to take to move ahead. Again, accountability. But what the Hermit says, the Hermit card is all about that spiritual self-awareness journey. It's the intimate journey that no one else can take with you because it's within you, right? People can support you while you're on the journey. They can support you while you are exploring yourself. They may even, be able to be a reflector to you or a mirror to you around some of the things that you are exploring and uncovering, while you're on that journey. But it is a solo path. It is a solo, choice. And I feel like that's the big key here. This is all about your choice, your choices. Own your story. You wouldn't be who you are without what you have overcome. If this feels really big and you're like, I can't, I don't want to have to overcome one more thing, that's okay. But understand that you'll come to this point again. So it's inevitable. 9s, endings, resolutions, conclusions. This is what this is offering you. You can put an end to all of this exhaustion. This is coming up to re-energize you. And I feel like that's why the Fool card is here as well. It's bringing you to a bigger portal where you're going to be able to go right to the source for your energy, not taking source energy from other places. I think about the divinity game that my ex and I play all the time, where I have this one skill, it's vampirism, whatever, where I can suck the source out of dead bodies, right? I mean, it gives me source energy to be able to use extra superpowers, but it runs out after a while. Whereas if you're getting it directly from the source and you're plugged in to yourself and source energy, it's that love cup that's full and overflowing. You're never without that energy and that support and that supply. And that's what you've got the potential to choose at this time, but you've got to choose it. So I encourage you, again, I'm not saying you have to do this, you have to do this. No, nobody has to do anything. If you really feel like you're not ready, you don't have the energy, then, say no to the choice. It will come up later on. Just understand that when it comes up later on and you go through it, you're going to look back and say, I could have done that. It wasn't as bad as I thought, or it wasn't as big as I thought, or as intense as I thought it was going to be. So have a little more faith in yourself and trust in that transcendence process. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Circles of support. Who or what is influencing your transformation right now? And is it positive or negative? Page of Light. So this is the Page of Wands energy. So this is encouraging you again it's not about going big or going home. It's about saying, we understand that there's a lot that you're still kind of processing and that you might be tired or overwhelmed or exhausted or, whatever, fearful, whatever it is. So you don't have to do it all at once. This isn't the King of Light. This isn't saying you got to do it all, and you got to do it all in one day. This is the Page of Light that says, I'm really curious about this journey. I'm enthusiastic about where I'm headed. Let's take the journey and we can really be curious and exploratory in it. We don't have to be in a rush. And because it's our first time walking this path, we might be the tortoise and not the hare on the journey, because we might want to take our time to really soak in all of the sights, to take each thing one step at a time. The hare jumps 2 or 3 steps at a time to get to the outcome. The tortoise says, I don't want to miss a moment. I don't want to miss a thing. So I'm hearing the Aerosmith song, don't want to miss a thing. So I feel like that's your message here, and when we talk about this as being a circle of support for you, I feel like it's less about people and more about the energy that is supporting you, your angels and guides reminding you that you can take this journey, but you don't have to go all in. And Leos, you tend to be all in. I can relate to you guys because I'm an A-type and I am just, typically a go big or go home girl. But you don't have to be in this instance, especially if it's going to stop you from saying yes to the opportunity. Hopes and fears. Who are you dreaming of becoming and what scares you about actually doing it? Wow. Yeah, you're afraid to be the bad guy. You're afraid to be the person that has to call other people out on their shit, or you're afraid to be the person that says enough is enough, or I'm done, or I'm choosing not to go down this path any longer. I need to move in a different direction. I feel like, death card, and you guys know if you're watching this, the death card gets a bad rap, but really what it is it's about change. It's heralding change, and it's often change that is necessary, that you actually want. Too much of a good thing is too much of a good thing. And I feel like when we're talking about the hopes and fears piece, it's about letting go of the need to be right, and it's about letting go of the need for external approval. And this is hard for you, Leos, right? You're hardwired to really be external and be out there, and to, that fuels you when you receive praise, accolades, where you receive the acknowledgement of the work that you've put into it. And I'm not saying that you're not going to get all of that. I'm saying it's important for you to release the attachment to those things. And again, I feel like that's connected to a past way of behaving, of being. This is what you're afraid of. But I want to say, when we talk about it in terms of a hope of what you're becoming or who you're becoming, it's a change agent. It's someone who embraces change and says, okay, yeah, like the last thing was absolutely amazing. So if you can top that by getting rid of it, I'm all in. Let's do this, and let's do it now. Let's go for it. Let's have some celebration. This is a card that has all sorts of really beautiful color in it. It's a card of inspiration. So use the change, use the transformative energy to inspire your actions moving forward. Be accountable for your choices in your own story. Be proud of saying no to something, because you know that you're going to be able to say yes to something else, or that's why you're saying it, because you want to say yes to something else that is more in alignment with where you're going and growing. All right, your outcome. Who will you be on the other side of this transformative journey in February if you stay the course? What is the result of embracing the full death and rebirth cycle? Wow, another Wands card, fire. Six of light, victory. Victory. So I go back to the two of light, where we said your light isn't as bright, right? You're on the journey to expand, to get more light. The page of light, there's even more light coming through here. Well, now you are the light. There's so much light within you that you're beaming it. It's not that you're receiving it now. Again, like I said, I think it was the sun, the Fool card here. You're going directly to the source. So then you have so much light that you're exuding it. People are watching you. People are following you. People are learning from you and from this experience. You're exuding your light. I think I mentioned this is a time where you're going to be like getting your life back. That's what this feels like. The victory is in getting your energy levels back, getting your purpose, feeling really connected to your purpose, really connected to yourself and source again, and connecting to a level of wholeness that you've always known was a part of your journey, but now it's becoming more prominent, or like you feel an urgency to experience that wholeness. And by the end of February, you're going to be ready to step into that wholeness journey. And perhaps that's what the Fool card symbolizes, is a new level of wholeness. And that's the journey that you're going to be taking. That's the challenge and the adventure that is awaiting you. Wow, Leos. Oh my goodness. Like I'm just blown away. Okay. So that is your reading for the Transformational Tarot reading for February of 2026. As always, loved being able to connect with you guys in this way. If you need some help while you're going through all of this, click the button below, book a session with me. Would love to help you out. Also, feel free to check out my join button. You can become a fabulous phoenix with me. Let's keep the conversation going and do a deeper dive on all of this stuff every single month. I've got 3 different tiers. Would love to have you there if it resonates. Otherwise, guys, until we see you for another episode of Black Feather Code Tour, Divining a VIP Life, sending you lots of love, lots of support. We'll see you on the flip side, and transform well.